We will go with Smith Lake now. As we're going to approach Smith Lake, please remember for those of you that came in, behind your agenda you have managers' email addresses.
Ayat ebene analsko kon ateno zenono yanigido kon shehe and kidishnido li kon not ani danos denigido hanso she ya kon is actually ani so chapters dani lingi kashit ankit in the hast in the atinigi ayisi I'm the Smith Lake CSC and I just been on board no more than 2 years. So everything is a learning process for me, and I have my AMS, Sharon, and then I have my chapter president, Mr. Morgan, whom will probably elaborate more on the projects we are seeking and what our chapter is doing. A year ago, we've been applying for roads to improve because there's a lot of people, constituents that live on Wolf Canyon Road, Akwishi, Naikedahat, and then it was brought to my attention that the road is really bad during the winter. Auto, such a old gravel road. So that's kind of our projects. And little did I know, but still I applied for fundings here and there. And then we recently got a LGRF that was approved for $92,000 to start on Wolf Canyon Road. No funding done hit at Nido. We're just kind of stuck there. And I feel for my community people because they're the ones that have to travel on that corroded road every day, and sometimes emergency people cannot make their way up there. So, and the other thing is we keep applying for fundings, and somehow, some way, we need to improve that road. That is kind of like our goal, and then the assistance that I would prefer from NDOT is like helping us plan and communication supportive of our chapters and the fundings that we can seek out there. And then I agree with the database that you emphasize. That way we can have access roads improve it, and then we also have established an MOU with the county, and the county has been somehow wanting to help us, but at the same time not help us too. So Wolf Canyon Gate, they're the ones that have that MOU with them, with Smith Lake. That old gravel road has we're dealing with the right-of-ways too. It's a slow process, but we still keep going every day to help our people. And then NDOT having the maintenance schedule that can be brought to the chapters, and then that way we know who's out there grading the road. And then if there's problems or issues, then the chapters can step in and to help these people get their roads fixed. So you see, and then so that's kind of like our major project with our roads, with Canyon and Old Gravel Road, you see. And then when on Lepe, then I always go to NDOT and seek sources as to find out, and then applications that submit that, so it would be nice to get a quick respondence. Instead, it's always like prolonged until the end of the due date. Although probably that way we can continue working on our projects on our end. And then I'd like to just pass this on to Mr. President so he can elaborate more on our issues. Thank you.
Good morning, NDOT, Mr. Platero. Mr. Platero has been around Roads Department a long time. I admired the gentleman for building that big building right there where it used to be my old bar, Navajo Inn. I think that's the only building that shines out when you go to Window Rock. Mr. Platero. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ansel Morgan. I'm the president of Smith Lake chapter. You know, the chapter projects is not only about roads. We have the young lady here from Mariana Lake did a good job. I applaud her for doing it on PowerPoint presentation. She referred to ICIP. There's about 6 or 7 priorities on the ICIP for chapters to deal with roads, to deal with buildings, to deal with other projects from the state capital outlay. And then the Navajo tribe picked it up and they call it the Navajo ICIP. So the chapter has to submit another priority to the Navajo Nation Council. This all started probably within the last 5 years, where the governor at the time was saying that any project has to be listed on the ICIP before it gets funded. So that kind of gives you an idea that we're not only here as a chapter that our priorities roads. Our priorities are too many. We can't handle all of it. It takes money to do anything. So that's our problem. We also deal with McKinley County. We also deal with New Mexico Capital Outlay and then the Indian Affairs Department. We have the land grant road funds that we applied for. And that's a $6,233. We got $67,785. When we got the letter, it says, "Congratulations, Smith Lake, you got 90,000 land grant road funds." And we were all happy. But later on, it says, "No, we actually have 67,000, but you need to come up with 22,595, which is a 25% match." So we scrambled all over and trying to find the matching monies. About probably half a year before that, we got almost the same kind of information from Navajo Nation legislative branch also. Because, you all know about the CARES Act money that went through. And all the chapters were asking for heavy equipment. Smith Lake was no different. We asked for a new backhoe. But that particular resolution died, I think it was December of 2019. And all the projects that were in line just froze as is. So they reactivated that later on to say, a year later, to say that, hey, all this project for CARES Act money is just sitting there. All the project, but there's no money. So let's get the CSN funds and pay for all that. So that's assembly line, so to speak, will move again. So that's what they did, but they asked the chapter to come up with 24,000. They said, the chapters, you're short. We'll pay for the backhoe. That was 2 years ago's price. And now it had jumped 24,000 above. And you have to come up with the difference. And that's what we did. So that took our money, whatever we had. And here we are. We had to come up with 25% matching of 22,000. And we could only scramble and come up with 9,000, I believe it was. So actually we need about like $12,000 or not, about $14,000 actually to meet that. NDOT wanted to help, but I understand there's some legalities that got in the way. And we're talking Wolf Canyon Road. We're talking CR 51E Old Gravel Road. Those are the two projects that we're dealing with. So this money is going to expire. The 60,000, the 67,000 is going to expire June of next year, 2025. If we can't come up with the amount. and then we just have to give it back and say, hey, we don't have enough. So, that's the pride of the chapter house. We don't want to battle all the way to the end and say, hey, that's our money. We can't come up with the matching monies, and then we just have to say, well, thank you for considering us, but we can't come up with the matching money. So we're just going to give it back. And now, we also entered a resolution for the one-time 15-mile road maintenance that all chapters are supposed to be getting in Eastern. 15-mile road maintenance per quarter. And when we look at the data with my previous coordinator, we found out that the only data that was available was for 2.87 miles of Smith Lake Road that was graded. So we questioned it. What happened to the other 13 miles? And they said, well, you don't have anything on record. And we did submit a resolution to identify 15-mile road maintenance. I don't know if that's still going on. That was a good service to the chapters. And it was a good relationship from the NDOT to the local level. If you look at it, the people around here, when they hear about Navajo Department of Transportation, the first thing they think about is road improvement, is their job. But if you start looking at it and looking through the in between the lines, and then it's really not, what they say, it's really not our job. It's the chapter who's supposed to be doing all this stuff. The chapter already has an equipment. You go ask the chapter. We can't continue to work that way. NDOT's the founding father of road maintenance, and they just kind of took the responsibility too from the BIA. I don't know if BIA was doing a better job or whether NDOT is doing a better job today. I'm not so sure. I don't really miss BIA road maintenance because we've never really seen them do a lot of roads at the time. We really had no communication about what they do. The other thing we have, ladies and gentlemen, is the motor grader purchase of Smith Lake. We have $100,000, although we applied for $300,000, and in New Mexico Capital Outlay, under Indian Affairs Department, they call it emergency funds, gave us $100,000. And that's not enough to buy, a backhoe or any type, even a tractor, I don't think. So we need $300,000 more on top to get a 120 motor grader, or either at least a 140 4x4 motor grader. The one that we have is a 1990 model. And, the older folks like to drive that one because it's less computerized. Everything is manual control. So we said, well, let's go ahead and do a maintenance on this one. Let's overhaul all the mechanics of this 1990 model and make it look good enough. But they said, well, your scope of work doesn't say that. Your scope of work doesn't say anything about maintenance. Your trade-in model, let's go trade it in for a used model then. And I talked to Tony Rodriguez, and he's supposed to send some people out here to look at the equipment and see how much it's going to be worth for new equipment. So that's the other thing that we have pending is a new motor grader. We have a 1990 model. I think we're the only chapter out this way that still has one of the old model functioning and operating. To consider that, Smith Lake chapter came up with a plan about 5 years ago to build a heavy equipment 2-bay maintenance yard. I brought this before Paulson Chaco, the previous director. I said, hey, Paulson, you help us out. You can store your equipment here at Smith Lake. There'll be a big fence. We'll security your stuff, and then you can maintenance here too. Bring in your tools and bring in your diesel and whatnot, and you can maintenance all your equipment out here. And it never happened. I said, the only thing we're going to need is some more additional funds, if you can come up with some additional funds to build this. Right now we have secured $694,000 for it. We already did the planning and design that we paid for $2,500, and then we also did the architectural drainage design, which would cost us $40,000. So the total amount that we had was $746,000. We got the land identified, we got the drainage already designed, we got the planning and design material, but it's supposed to have been bidded out 2019. And CPMD in Windorup kind of stalled because of the COVID. After the COVID-19 came about, everybody kind of worked from home, and we don't really know what happened. Now they're telling us you don't have enough money. But we're saying, well, we did everything we could on our end. Now the ball is in your part. You need to bid it out. But we're still waiting for that. That's the other project that I think NDOT needs to consider. Because there was one that at White Horse Lake, a big maintenance that was identified. Nothing there but fenced. I think it's going into like 12 years now. And that one was the same idea to offer to NDOT. You have a big maintenance that we're going to, Leonard Sosi says we're going to withdraw land for you folks so you can build something out here, and with the intention of helping chapters maintenance their systems or either their equipment. We have some monies for a parking lot in Smith Lake chapter. We have $519,000 for parking lot pavement. Again, this is supposed to have been bidded out 2019, but it never happened. This is one of the projects that was vetoed by Governor Grisham not too long ago. So we lost that money. And then to close with it, I like to say this, that fuel excise tax. The people, I think everybody in here pays gas, and then the fuel excise tax is accomplished. But I asked this question at Pinedale chapter last week. Where is it? FET. Who's controlling the FET? What are we using that for now today? Maybe matching monies for Arizona projects. How much of that matching money goes to New Mexico? Red tape to it, and a lot of restrictions to the FET. These are the people's money. These are the people out there that pays taxes. And it's just like out here in Eastern, we have grazing that people pay for their grazing. Goes to the escrow account, and BIA says, oh, I don't have it. Yeah, give it back to the tribe. And the tribe says, oh, BIA has it in their back pocket. So we don't know where the money goes. That's Arden from looking up to Windera. I think NDOT needs to start working with these, like New Mexico Capital Outlay. NDOT needs to start looking for money with the Navajo Nation Council and start securing matching funds for all the projects on the Navajo Nation. That way you can't really just say, yeah, that's the chapter's problem. You guys look for your matching money. Because there was a time when Navajo Nation Council had $2 million per agency for matching monies. Eastern had $2 million. All the other agencies had $2 million. This was during the 88 council, the 88 membership council. And they did that for New Mexico Capital Outlay for chapters like in my position. I think that's what NDOT needs to start looking towards, meeting with the council and say, hey, let's establish a coffer for matching monies for all the projects in NDOT, And then we have what we need out here. This is also taken away when the new administration took over, is the art clearance personnel, the right-of-way agents. AD, but the environmental assessment. NDOT at one time had these staff on board, and they were helping chapters with that expertise. Now we have to look around, and somebody said earlier that all the prices are going up. And sure enough, these folks are doing the same thing, that everything's going up, so it's costing the chapter more and more to come up with EA, Arki, Fonzie, you name it. Even so NDOT needs to hopefully get back together and reestablish that. It's probably cost money to them too. One of the things that we probably need to consider is decentralizing services from NDOT. You can't be in Windera all the time, and you can't be going to Windera all the time. Somehow they need to come to the agency level and establish agency posts to where the chapter is going to have to come to meet with these folks out here. NDOT is centralized, and there's 5 agencies that they look over the whole reservation. You really can't tell what's going on because it's so large. They don't really know what's going on in Smith Lake. So somehow that has to change. Again, matching monies with Mexico Capital Outlay, Ada Bayeshki. Also support Mariana Lake about the, they call it Tawal Salah Road. When you go down the canyon where she went 120 miles an hour, right at the edge there's a rock, but Jay knows that, to the history where the name came from. But we just call it Mariana Lake Pass Road. But actually the real name, it was Salati. That was our shortcut. And that is needed for Eastern Navajo. And it's a shortcut that can get you to Crown Point in 15 minutes versus going around, you're talking about 25 to 30 minutes. So I support Mariana Lake chapter on that project. So ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm the president from Smith Lake, and I want to just bring this up to NDOT. I appreciate NDOT doing this meeting today. This is needed. We need this communication going. McKinley County,
Yeah, Zed Ado Smith Lake chapter staff and Enigi. So thank you so much for your addressing your concerns and issues.
One of the things that we're also working on is creating access for the chapters to know what projects are in their area. It's not going to be just all FET, but all the state money, all the fuel excise tax money, all the citizen money. There's 4 ARPA projects that were funded. All of those, we're trying to get those all online by the end of May. So hopefully after May, you'll be able to take a look at it. The other one is they call it project management, but it's really a compliance section within Navajo DOT. Those positions were actually all funded all these years. They just never made a move to hire for them. So the fuel excise tax money, there's drawdowns from it every year that funds road maintenance, that funds administration, that funds environmental clearances. Those positions are being advertised now. Anjanette Owens is hired as the manager for that. She got her first referral for an environmental person. She's advertising a couple of other positions. And so those will be back online by hopefully by the end of the year. So those positions will be then available for the chapters to use. We will also be, our team is working on reallocation of the existing fuel excise tax projects. We'll still have to meet with our crew to see what the next allocation will be. So that information will be forthcoming when it becomes available. One of the things that we created was Eli. He's our community outreach person. So once we have news on this, he'll be releasing that information out to you guys. But our intention is that we need to reach into all 110 chapters so that you know what we're doing, what we're working on, where the funds that are given to us go. And the other big part, we're trying to get on some consultants to help us write policies and procedures. A lot of it is just, this is how we've always done it, and that needs to stop. Lake State Judge and County, this is what we can and cannot do. So that's some things that we need to work on. I'm hopeful that by the first quarter of 2025, we'll have all that in place. When that does happen, we're going to have to reach out back to all 110 chapters and do an orientation for all the chapters on this is what we work with. These are our rules that we have to work with. So this has been really eye-opening, to hear from you the things that we need to work on. So it's just reinforcing that we can't work in a silo. we have to communicate with the chapters because you need to know what we're doing. And we also have to listen to you to understand that these are the needs of the communities that are out there. So those are, I believe, answering all the other ones. The other ones are project ones. I think we can get that on when we get to the reporting side of it. So I don't know if anybody wants to add anything. Okay, hold on.
Okay, so with planning, we have for the regional routes, your 15 miles. Again, we can go back and revisit, but for now, we have 491 road, 4.7 miles. We have 1483, 1.2 miles. We have 1485, we have 0.7 miles. And we have 1493, 1.2 miles. And then the last one, 7052, we have 1.4 miles. And also, even though these miles are maybe one route or 1.2 routes, our roads department goes beyond that. Our Mr. Joe Peterman tells his crew, keep going, keep going. So we do go out there and do the maintenance. And we can also get that maintenance schedule on the website, just as Mr. Potero also said. So thank you.